Unsyndicated presents Off the Board, the weekly gambling show. Hosted by Blake Majchrzak and Mike Iavasile.
Michael.
Hey.
Does anyone call you Michael?
Only my mother when she's mad, right?
Okay.
Michael Joseph.
Okay. Oh, you get middle names?
Oh, I get middle name.
Welcome in to Off the Board. We were just saying things that cannot be repeated on the air before the show, and it was a lot of fun. Todd was just shaking his head at me incessantly.
If Siri was listening, the FBI is going to be at our door any second.
Yes. They are. Okay. Amazon has been at my house this week, like legitimately nonstop. I swear to God, every 10 minutes I'm getting another package. Like I just got home from Costco and I brought in 2 more. They've been here nonstop because the baby shower is later this month. So all the people that aren't coming to the shower have just been getting stuff shipped to our house. And I've had more boxes in my garbage than I did on Christmas. It's insane. Sorry,
so
that random thought?
Is that out of the ordinary for you? Because that sounds like a normal day at my house.
It's way more. It's just way more. It's nonstop. It's nuts. Like I think the Amazon guy has to hate me at this point. They're
the nicest people, though. Have you ever talked to them? This is how often. Like we have relationships with our Amazon people, with our Amazon drivers. That's how often they come, Blake.
The UPS guy, UPS is the best. Like the UPS guy is like those guys mean business. You know that they're not allowed to have beards.
You know, now I've got to wait. Now I've got to wait and see if I've ever seen a guy in brown.
They're not. They're only allowed to have mustaches. Like they go by like military. They have to like shine their shoes the whole night.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Okay.
UPS doesn't mess around. If I'm getting anything shipped, they're not allowed to wear shorts. They have to wear pants. Yeah.
Oh.
They don't mess around, man.
And I'm not ripping on my Amazon drivers. We love our Amazon drivers, but they're a mess. I don't even know what they're wearing or who they are.
Yeah, they smoke weed and they're just living their best lives and I don't know if you've had it recently. Like I have Amazon people that drop off stuff and they're just in their car.
Yes.
They're not even
pulling stuff out of the truck. I'm like, what's going on here? What is happening? No truck, crazy. No side, no shirt, no nothing. Just like some dude dropping shit off at my house.
How do you feel about your mailman?
We used to have the same lady all the time. This older lady, she was awesome. She would rock out. She would come up to the door, bring stuff to us. She'd also let you know if you park too close to the mailbox, she'd get on you. But I don't think she's our driver anymore. So I don't know. I'm not home usually when the mail comes. Yeah. But if I pay attention in the summer, obviously having summers off, I know.
Yeah, like my guys, it's the same guy every day, and he's very nice, but he has like maybe 7 teeth. I don't know what's going on with that. So, what is that? What is going on? Everything good over there?
Okay. Well, you know, the Sebby's playing upstairs, and I just heard screaming, yelling, and a dance. So
are you on delay? Are you still watching it down there or no?
No, I don't have. If I had it on, I wouldn't be paying attention. He actually got the start tonight. He's getting a crap ton of ice. He's back on the PK for the night.
We're doing this I just got a text show.
He's back on the PK again. I just got the text, and then I hear him cheering. I'm like, is he getting a shorty? Do I have to go run in here? What's going on? But that was the stop. I'm like, what happened? So he just made a nice.
If you have to leave like you did last week, just let me know, okay?
I gutted that one out, literally.
Oh man. So we were talking before the show about bowl games and the playoff and everything like that. And this week we're just picking NFL games because we're gonna have another show next Thursday before the next round of the CFP, which is kind of nice because that gives us time. I already know what my picks are going to be, and most of them are with my heart, not my head. But it's nice because we have a full week to evaluate some things and really lock some stuff down on that. And we can just focus on NFL.
Yes.
But I was saying before the show, I've actually really enjoyed this bowl season. Not from a gambling perspective. I haven't been like betting on it at all. But the games themselves have been actually really good. I know that we don't know who's playing until like kickoff. There's been like a lot of opt-outs, but there's also been a lot of players, in my opinion, that I did not expect to play that have played. Like think about Milrow played that whole game, and then he's going to the NFL now.
Yep.
Like he didn't have to play. Not that it mattered because Michigan's just fully back.
And it started with Cam Ward playing to get the
you just wanted the record.
The record. And then I was talking to you on the side during that Colorado game that did Colorado unlock something for future bowl games with these insurance policies and the schools making huge insurance policies that these kids get out there and play. They didn't have to play. They played the whole game. I don't even know if I told you, I took Shedeur Sanders under 315 yards passing, thinking, oh, he's going to do like Ward. He's only going to be there for a half.
Yeah, him and Hunter.
No, he played that whole game, and they were going at it. Yeah, and that was great. That was great. So hopefully they unlock something for the future. There's been a couple games. I just need it to be where I think I lost faith early, Blake. You know that. I lost faith early. I knew I couldn't bet these things. I knew everyone was opting out. The opt-out list got longer. They've got to get the transfer portal opt-outs.
Mm-hmm.
Something to do with that, and I think you'll have me back. And again, as we were saying before, I think if they get rid of some of the 6-6 games, like that's, I don't know. I need a better game, a better matchup, something marquee, have all the players there, and they'll have me back. Not only will they have me back watching, but they'll have us back gambling.
Well, it's hard too because like we've been so accustomed to like the only games that really matter are like the New Year's 6 games. And now those New Year's 6 games are playoff games. Yeah. So it's like the Rely Quest Bowl was before it was a bullshit, no one cares game. The Cheez-It Bowl, Pop-Tarts Bowl was elite just because
that was great.
They went all in and it was incredible.
Yes.
So like those games now are a little bit more elevated than they were before.
Yes.
They matter a little bit more.
And I guess I gotta be like, it doesn't matter the name of the bowl. I don't need I'm not 10 again where it was only the peach sugar roll, like the big name bowl. I just need everybody there. I'm tired of who's playing, how are they gonna do, nothing going on, not being able to bet them. That's all I'm worried about. Like you can still get Michigan, Alabama, the Illinois Gamecocks one. We have their Big Ten in your SEC games going on. That the ACC is just taking a dump, though. How about that? I mean, they're terrible in the bowl time. But
the SEC too. The SEC is getting dominated. Ole Miss is the only team that's like done anything, and it was against Duke,
and they were the angriest.
Yeah,
too. Right. I mean, the kid Kiffin knew exactly what he was doing. He got his boys to stay, and they went out and did that. Hopefully, again, we've talked about there's going to be adjustments to the playoff. They've got to try to do something to contain these bowl games. They think they're going to get this revenue, this money, and still get this money. They've got to get viewership in there. And the number one thing they got to do, Blake, I'm sorry, they got to bring gambling back into it. They've got to do something so people can actually gamble. When you have the professional gamblers, not even the professional gamblers, I can't touch this game. Right? Yeah. They need to bring that back in.
But okay, so for the NFL guy that's like, oh, I don't like college bowl games because of all these opt-outs. Like that's what week 18 is in the NFL. Look at how many guys are sitting out in the NFL.
Yes.
And there's a bunch of games that don't matter because everything's all locked up. Most of the seating is locked up. There's really like 2-3 games that actually matter.
Yes.
in the grand scheme of things.
And it's, I mean, I get it. I think I made a comment to a guy that I follow on Twitter. I asked him for some advice, like, what do you do as a professional? What do you do week 18? It's kind of, and it's what I said. I said, it's kind of like bowl games. You don't know who's playing. And he says, I just stay away from underdogs and overs, but I think that was his general comment because he's on the same path I am right now of just getting absolutely obliterated with the favorites and everything that's going on. So, yeah, I mean, it is, but this week 18 isn't the showcase of what the bowl game is supposed to be.
Mhm.
That's the only difference. It's similar in a way, but the bowl games are what is supposed to be. I mean, it's our holidays, it's everything, it's what we want. And they can make a couple changes to make it. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll be better. It'll be better.
Yeah. So you want to review last week? I know you don't, but I do.
Let's go. Hey, it's better than what I've been doing. Not as good as you, but it's better than what I had done.
Yeah, I mean, college was okay. NFL was great for me personally. Ohio State rolled. That was the one game. Like, I thought that was going to be a really tight game.
Yes.
So that was disappointing. All the other games were honestly, like, I know that Penn State won by 17, but Boise was in that game, in my opinion, most of it. It was just Boise was just waiting for Genty to break one, and he never did.
Yes, they're waiting for him to break one, and I just don't understand. There's been I don't understand what Georgia was doing. I thought Georgia. I think Kirby Smart got out coached there. I don't understand what they were doing that game. Penn State, I don't understand what their game plan was there. You know me, I want to go to bed. That's all I look forward to doing life is going to bed and watching the Penn State, Penn State Boise State game. I couldn't stop. Like, I couldn't stop watching the game. I had Penn State. I had it in my account, and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, they're going to cover. They just wouldn't go away, and they wouldn't let them go away. Penn State's got a lot of thinking to do before they come back.
I think that they would have smoked them if they had just committed to the run. If they would have gone like full blown bully ball, like go full Michigan on it and just run the ball down their throat, Boise State didn't have a chance.
If
but
they
Penn
just
State
paid
was trying
attention
to get cute with it.
Yeah, if they just paid attention to what I mean, they were gashing them, and then all of a sudden, well, hey, they're susceptible to the deep ball. We got to throw the deep ball, and they just kept going. And Aller didn't look comfortable at all doing it. He needs that run and that quick throw and those up the middle and Warren and stuff like that. And they just got away from it. 44 didn't touch the ball enough.
Yeah,
they need 2 touchdowns. I mean, yeah. So yeah, but that was all right. Looking at this is. When I look at this one, like, this looks exactly like I cannot believe the difference in my NCAA to my NFL bets, be it on the show or be it in my account. I'm getting pummeled in NFL, and I've found the light apparently in the NCAA here. And I owe, looking here at my one loss Texas, I owe all of Arizona a scat apology.
Yes, you do.
I am sorry. He is him. He is the man. He deserved the MVP there. He was the best player on the field, and he was projectile puking on the sideline. He didn't look right, but when you gave him the ball, he balled, Blake. That I don't know if I've ever been more wrong on something. I was like, the whole time watching it with my friend, I'm like, I'm wrong. I was wrong about Arizona State. I was wrong about Scadaboo Moore. And I thought they were going to win it.
You know, their head coach is like my age too.
I think he's like younger.
I think he's like 36. I'm gonna double check right now, but Dillingham is his name. He's like, I know he's young. I think he's in like his mid 30s.
And he's never leaving there. That's his dream job. That's the only job he's ever wanted. They aren't they like season ticket holders to the Cardinals? They would go to the Arizona State games. I mean, this is in his family's blood. This is what he wanted. He is going to be here forever. And I hope every person that voted him the 16th coach out of 16 in that conference writes him a letter of apology, because that guy can coach.
He's 34 years old.
Holy cow.
I'm 31.
Holy cow. Holy cow. Holy cow.
Crazy. Like,
Yeah,
to have it, and like that was obviously the closest game, but you literally were a bad or an arguable targeting call away
I was
from
just
winning that
gonna ask.
game.
I was going to ask your thoughts on that, Blake. What do you think?
I hate that rule. I hate targeting. I think it's a dumb rule. I think that like they're trying to legislate it way too much. By the letter of the law, I think that was targeting, but I'm glad that they let it go.
So
Personally.
tell me the letter of the law, just to make sure I've got it right before I speak.
He was defenseless. So he's considered a defenseless player in where he was like on the field.
Okay.
And when it's a defenseless player, it's any hit. Does not have to be with the crown of the helmet. It is any hit to the head or neck area is considered targeting.
So that was the conversation. I want to say it was even said on the during the broadcast.
Yeah.
That defenseless receiver, that's not a college call. That's an NFL call. And college doesn't have a defenseless receiver. They have the targeting call. Whereas the NFL doesn't have targeting, right? So whether he's defenseless or not, it gets down to the letter of the law of targeting, right? Because they don't have a defenseless.
My interpretation, though, is like the type of target, like it's targeting both ways and it's the same penalty, but it's like officiated differently if the player is defenseless or not. That's my interpretation of it from what I know.
All right. See, that then, if that is it, then there's a little wiggle room in there, because I just kept looking. I'm like, he doesn't hit him with the crown of the head. I thought they hit face mask to face mask.
Yeah.
Any head, it was just in the physics of what he was doing to go tackle. He didn't do that's when I see the crown of the helmet and targeting, and that's not what happened. I liked the call. I thought it was the right call.
I think it was the right call, but then you have to officiate it that way all the time. And that's not how it's officiated.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like,
you got to call what the call is, and that's where like I didn't know they had the defenseless part.
Yes. So I would love it if they just treated like I hate the rule. I think the rule is bullshit, and the NCAA it's just them trying to over officiate something that, like, I understand why they did it in the beginning, and it was really just to avoid lawsuits. Like, they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They just want to say, like, we're trying to protect players.
Yes.
But if coaches and players just tackled properly and weren't headhunting,
yes,
then it wouldn't be an issue.
I do like the fact that it can be, and it's always reviewed. That makes it a little bit easier on me.
I don't know if you remember, that's not how it always, like at the beginning of this rule, it was the only review was if the player was ejected or not, no matter what the penalty stood. Which was
I don't like that. I don't like that. Yeah, that's horrible. When you can look at it, and it's something that I've actually said I think the NFL's got to adopt a little bit of.
Yeah, I hate the rule personally. I think it's too much, and you're trying to just judge too much. You're putting too much on these officials.
It is. It's hard. It's a hard call. It's a hard play. There is legitimate targeting, and there's legitimate physics and science, and the way your body moves, and guys dropping, all kinds of stuff that also happens. But I guess as long as
it's hard too, because in different leagues, because like unlike the NFL, like in college football, there's certain refs that call SEC games. There's certain refs that call Big Ten games. And like all of them treat things a little bit differently, but then you get to the playoff and like there's Big 12 refs calling the game for a Big Ten and SEC team. So it's like there's so many adjustments in that, where in the
Yeah.
NFL it's just the different groups of
Yes.
officials. Obviously, there's
Yes.
a lot more games, so they need those different groups, but that just complicates it even more. So
Yeah.
but yeah, on to the NFL.
Let's see what we got here. This one wasn't as nice to me, and I'm going to tell you what. I thought things had changed. You said you weren't locked into that Cincinnati game. I thought
I was locked into the Cincy game. I was not locked into the early game.
Oh, okay. So you saw like I thought things had changed with my luck and the way things were going, because literally, I would say it's probably about an hour span of time from that fourth quarter starting to the end of that game where I was losing, and I had this in my account too, both bets, losing both bets, winning both bets, 1-1, 0-1-1. When I turned it off, I think I was 0-2 because I'd had it. I had such an emotional roller coaster, falling on the floor, flailing, and then finally the kick hits the upright. I turned it off. I was done. And then tweets started coming out about it, and I go, "Oh my god, did I just win both those games?"
Game.
Yes,
Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the NFL. You cannot change my mind. I don't care. Like the way he has been playing, and the fact that they even have a chance to make the playoffs he's incredible.
It's just a travesty of things that are going to happen. It should be Josh Allen's going to get the MVP, but they vote on 3 or 4 guys, 3 guys, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
It should be Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Jared Goff, but Lamar Jackson's going to get in there, and that's crap. And I don't care what anyone says. Burrow, without Burrow, this is an 0-17 team.
Yeah,
this is one of the most. And that I tell you what, Zach Taylor. But this is what I was saying. I thought it was turning around. I do not. You know my feelings for Zach Taylor, and then Raheem Morris came about. And I texted you. I know I said it on the show. I said, I love this Atlanta bet, but Raheem Morris is going to screw me. And he did again. Yeah. He's done it so many times. And that is inexcusable. I don't understand that. It would have made my day. Would have made that board look a little bit better for me. The floor didn't have his luck in there. But this is right here, Blake. This board shows me exactly what I've done in the NFL this year. I had some nice bets.
I watched the entire Green Bay Minnesota game. I still don't understand how Green Bay came back in that game. The fact that it was a sweat at the end. I was just like, what
was incredible?
What happened?
But did you watch the first time they played? By any chance, if you want to go back, my memory, but okay. So they went down 20. It's the same game. It was the same game. They went down, but I think they went down 28-0. It was the exact same game, and somehow at the end of the game, it was a sweat to where Green Bay had a chance to win. The identical game. One was in Lambeau. This one was in Minnesota. Because they were awful up until that point, and then Minnesota had a little doy there towards the end that hopefully we see a little bit of that on Sunday.
I also, by the time that game kicked off, Minnesota was +1.
Mm-hmm.
So I had them at +1. So I was sitting good.
Yes,
but
you're doing real good. I mean, even the San Francisco game, until Brock Purdy went Jameis Winston and just started throwing interceptions all over the place. That game, I don't know how Detroit won that game. That game was going so San Francisco's way, the exact way that I had said it, that their defense was going to be the cure for San Francisco's offense. Hurts his elbow, throws a couple interceptions, game over.
Yeah.
Brutal. But that's it. That's how it's going.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to touch on either of these? Do you want to kind of real quick talk about?
Well, let's just show this awesome record of yours before we do anything.
That's a good idea. I like that idea. Look at that. 5 games over 500.
That is great. That is, I mean, it's been a total turnaround, Blake. You have been on fire. You've had the right picks. I have been stubborn. And it was literally why I ended up talking with that guy online was he's the guy that I model everything I do off of, Josh Applebaum. And he had made, I think I sent it to you, a tweet. He had sent a tweet out about how bad it was. And I sent it to you and made a comment. And I think this is what you kids say nowadays. He slid into my DMs, and he DM'd me about
nudies.
Yeah, he did. He's hot. But he just flat out said, "How gross is the chalk this year?" And I'm like, I'm getting murdered. And that's when he made the comment of, "I'm just laying off dogs and unders." And he did. Like, I read all of his articles, and his articles that, depending on how you want to look at it, because now he also looks at 2 books. I got that from, and one book may say one thing, and he's going with the trend of overs and favorites, because that's the way it went. And I stopped. I still was on unders and dogs, and it's cost me.
Yeah. So do you want to just real quick? I know we're not picking the CFB playoff games this week. We're going to save that for next Thursday. But do you have anything early that you're kind of looking at? Any numbers that are popping out to you on those games?
Well, yeah. So let's go to the Notre Dame Penn State game you want to start with?
Yeah.
Sure. All right, Mike.
Hey,
we'll start.
Mike, wait, time out.
So the early splits are what?
Refresh your browser. I'm going to fill for a second. You're lagging.
What
like
am I missing?
Crazy. You're like 10 seconds behind me. So just refresh and come back in, and I'll flub for a second. There we go. Hi, Todd. How are you? Yeah, I'm very excited for the playoff games. I was talking before the show, though. I think that the winner of the Texas-Ohio State game is going to end up being the national champion, because I don't trust either of these, Notre Dame or Penn State. James Franklin is obviously bound to do James Franklin things. And then there we go. Is that better?
Am I back?
There we go. That's better.
Right.
You were on like legitimately like a 10-second delay. It was so bad.
You were looking at me and I'm like, what did I say? What did I do here?
But what I was
just
saying is, I was just talking about how I don't trust either Notre Dame or James Franklin in a big spot to win a national championship, like we were kind of talking about before the show. But it is crazy, because I was texting Todd and Sean about this last night. The upgrade that so gross. The upgrade that Notre Dame got at head coach by Brian Kelly leaving to go to LSU is insane. That pouty bastard that couldn't win a big game to save his life leaves, and his replacement just beat Georgia. And I know Georgia this year is not Georgia. They're like the most inconsistent team probably in college football. But you still beat Georgia like that, and their defense is awesome.
Yeah, and being down in the bayou.
And you out-coached them.
100%. Like, I was going crazy. I didn't have anything on the game. I had nothing on the game. My numbers didn't work out. I am trying to get a little bit smarter, because I would have been on Georgia the way it was pointing.
Oh, me too.
And I did it, and I don't understand. They coached the game like Beck was playing, and you can't do that. 2 totally different quarterbacks. I didn't understand it.
They coached like, they didn't coach to win. It was like they coached to not lose. And when you coach 100%. Like that, like what happened at the end of the half, lost them that game. And when you coach like that, you have a very, very small margin of victory when you coach like that.
Yes.
And it was
just, my dad,
and their receivers suck.
Yes. Yeah. They weren't doing themselves, and they couldn't run the ball. They couldn't do it. My dad came over right as the second half was starting, and he asked me about the game, and I'm like, Georgia just lost the game at the end of the half. Like, I don't understand what just happened. You walk out of there 9-6 in that game, and it's a totally different game, or 6-3, whatever the score was. I was just hoping it wasn't going to go over. I'm like, now is this going to start going over? Because they started to open it a little bit. But so where were you going? You were talking about James Franklin, Penn State. I think you're leaning Penn State, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. I love both of their defenses. But I think that I trust, which is insane for me to say, I trust Aller more than I trust what's his name? Numbnuts. Yeah, Leonard. I don't know. There's something about his face. I just can't get past it. He's got a very punchable face.
It's the golden helmet that he's wearing.
It's the Roman Catholic. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
He's a good Catholic boy. If you heard him talking after, a lot of Jesus thinking going on in the bowl games this year.
But you got any numbers that are making you lean right now one way or the other?
Right now, it's a pros and Joes, so it gives me a little bit of worry. It's a little bit popular, but at one book, 68% of the bets, 74% of the money. At the other book, 79% of the bets, but 86% of the money is on Notre Dame right now early. And the line has just stayed, right? It opened up at 1.5. I know I've got some wonky lines. My app never refreshed. It told me what I think. I've got it opening at 1.5 and 47.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna double check right now for you.
Because someone was saying MGM had that total at 50.5. Not no more.
It looks like some places have it at 2.5.
It's up to 2.5 right now.
Yeah, just add a couple books,
okay.
And then over under everywhere is 46.5.
Okay, so that goes right with that line movement from 1.5 to 2.5 going towards Notre Dame. So that's what I'm sitting on right now. As far as the total, the total is split. There's two sides. One is a heavy side, 73% of the bets, 89% of the money on the under. And then at the other book, a more sharper book, it's 10% of the bets, 39% of the money on the over. But that line's moving towards that under. So you know where the book is worried about the liability on that one. And the later one, that 10%, 39 is the one I wait. That's the only one I use. I wait till game day. And that's when, as you know, I told you a few times on the show, when the limits go up on game day, this is a book that all the sharps go to because they have huge limits. So I use their game day numbers. But right now, their sharp sides on the over. So I myself looking here I'm looking Notre Dame in the under if everything can come in right for me. It's interesting. Haller just isn't impressive. But you would trust him more than Leonard.
I think he's a better passer.
Yeah.
I think that Leonard is I don't understand how he's so good at running the ball because he looks so slow. And I know that's just from watching from TV. Yeah. But he's an incredible runner. It's just if they get into a spot where they have to pass to win the game, I would trust Aller way more.
You would.
I don't trust his receivers more, which is crazy because Notre Dame, in the last 5 years, has not had good receivers at all. Their receivers are, I mean, that kid that plays on the lacrosse team is awesome.
Yes. And I have this game, I'm looking at it. I'm surprised it went out to 2.5. I thought it would come back. That's what I'm sitting here. I was looking at it and I'm like, this 1.5, it might come back. I mean, they're almost identical teams. The quarterbacks need the run game to be successful. Leonard's obviously going to be more part of the run game than Aller is. And then the defenses are just two major defenses. A big thing is going to be, is it Abdul Carter, the guy that got hurt?
Yeah.
Number 11 on Penn State.
Yeah.
So that's a guy that his health is going to be huge. But
the rumor is he's playing.
Okay. That's good for them. But the final thing on this one really is Penn State can't do what they did against Boise State. They can't think that they're going to go deep. They're going to open this up. They need to run the ball, and they were good when they were doing it, and I think they'll be all right. because if I'm not mistaken, I believe I read Notre Dame's has better pass defense than run defense. They give more up on the ground. So Penn State's going to have to expose that to save Aller from having to do too much against their pass defense.
Yeah. And then anything on that other game with that team, and then that God, hey, who won the game?
I have a feeling.
Is Ohio State in this spot if Michigan doesn't beat them? People are asking.
It's a great question. I mean, I'm sure as this goes down in history, after they win a national championship, they'll say they purposely threw the Michigan game to throw everybody off.
They win the Natty. Right. They keep Ryan Day. It all works out for me.
You keep saying that. I like it. This other game, I have a feeling I'm going to be with you on Texas right now, especially with the move. It's heavy. It's 87% of the bets, 89% of the money is on Ohio State, and I think that's coughed that 4.5 up to 6. Right now, what would get me off of this?
Some places
it's 6.5. Wow. So I'm wondering if the other book is at 16% of the bets, 51% of the money. When I've had this in the past, that usually means it's going to be two sides going back and forth. I'm shocked that it went to 6.5. I'm wondering if I look within the next couple of days if this other book is gonna flip towards Ohio State, because usually when they're as sharp as they are, that line doesn't move up that much more. Like it already went from 4.5 to 6 right off the bat. I don't think that stayed but about 15 minutes on it, and the total's totally split. One sharp side's over, one sharp side's under. It obviously has moved from 52.5 to 53.5. That's where I have to lean towards where that line move goes, as long as it doesn't move back.
Yeah, I still fully trust Texas's defense, especially like their pass defense. I think will be able to cause some problems for Howard. I worry about their run defense because Clemson kind of ran on him a little bit.
Yep.
And then obviously Arizona State ran on him a little bit. And Ohio State obviously has good running backs. So that part I'm a little worried about. But I think the whole game comes down to how Quinn Ewers plays, legitimately.
Not only that, but are they going to cure a few things? Texas has to get some stuff straight. They've got to get their second half offense straight. Their first half offense is laid out. Their second half offense is not good. They also, not only do they have to stop the run, but they're going to have to bring their run game too. They're going to have to run. They struggled in the SEC game. They struggled. They ran against Clemson, struggled in the SEC championship, struggled to run the ball against ASU. They're going to have to run the ball. Then on the defensive side, they're really going to have to do something about Jeremiah Smith. He is wow, 18-year-old stud. Like, so if they're going to focus everything on him, they're going to have to win the battle of both lines. And who did that? Michigan. Yeah. Michigan's going to have Texas is going to have to bring that Michigan kind of game plan and do it. This could be a game. By the time this game goes off, I'll have a pick here next week when we go. I'll figure it out. I just don't know. I really think this is going to be two sides. There's going to be two sharp sides coming in on it, and I always bow out of those. But we'll see as the week goes along. That's why I'm glad we're deciding to give it a week. Yeah. Let these lines marinate.
Yeah. Yes.
It's going to be all right.
It's going to be all right. There we go. Texas forever.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Let's get into these NFL games. Week 18, like we talked about.
Do you want to hear some trends first?
Yeah, let's.
Blake, you're going to like these. The only reason I'm doing this, and I didn't even say anything to you about it, so I'm sorry to throw this on you. But these smacked me right in the face because they are trends for resting the starters week. Okay. All right. And that's what we're doing. Most of our games have questions like that. Since 2011, in games where one team is resting their players, The underdogs are 23-11 ATS.
Chiefs.
Right? Right? In the last 13 years, the team resting their players is 20-14-2 against the spread. That is crazy.
Yeah.
That one kicked me pretty hard. And then the real big one is road teams are 23-8-1 in these games. When one team is or the other is resting them. The road team is 23-8-1 against the spread. Here's a good one, and you're going to see a trend of this with my picks. Since 2010, the over is 28-13 in these games, with an average score of 45.4 points a game. Now, if you're going to follow this, give it time, because these totals drop an average of 2.5 points from where they are to when kickoff will happen on these games. Now, for the future, this was one that we were talking about with McVay's 0-2 when resting his starters, 0-2 in the playoffs. Since 2020, teams are 3-7 straight up after resting their starters. And it's not even close. It's not even close. Yeah. The closest game, and I've got a list of them, the closest game was last year's Lions-Rams game. Listen to some of these scores. Steelers lost to the Browns, 48-37. Eagles lost to the Bucks, 31-15. Bengals beat the Raiders, 26-19. Ravens lost to the Bengals, 24-17. Bucks lost to Cowboys, 31-14. Giants beat the Vikings, 31-24. Eagles lost to the Bucks, 32-9. And then you have the Rams lost to the Dolphins. Who was the only team last year to win, Blake? After resting their starters. Come on. It's easy.
Is it Detroit?
No, the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah.
Chiefs were the only
okay,
only
so
team.
And do you realize, because of the Chiefs, how like everything's played out, they're going to have 25 days off, like their starters, like Mahomes, Kelsey, 25 days of rest going into the playoffs.
I think the trend is showing across all sports that that's not good.
But if there's any team that it's not going to affect,
we would think. We would absolutely think.
Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
Yes. You would think that.
Mahomes also not even a Pro Bowler this year. You know?
He shouldn't be.
No.
Come on, he was terrible.
No.
Okay, I take that back. He wasn't terrible.
Oh,
just wasn't good. He just wasn't good.
He's probably the fourth best quarterback in the NFL this season.
Right. And yeah. But he's not going to be available for the Pro Bowl anyways, let's be honest.
Exactly. Doesn't matter. He's busy. Yeah, but the over-under thing, especially like because there's a lot of low totals already. Like yes. That's what I was looking at, a lot of totals, and there's low numbers already. And they're, like you're saying, they're probably going to drop a little bit more the more that stuff comes out about players resting and stuff.
And so, once you get to the weekend, when the casual bettor is going to get in there and start throwing their monies on FanDuel, DraftKings, and all these apps, you're going to see these go even lower. Like I mean, possibly the only one that might stay up there would be the Cincinnati one.
Well, but yeah, and both those teams.
Oh, and the Lions. Yes, yeah. This is also a good point.
Yeah. Speaking
so
of,
let's get to this. Let's get to this, and then after I'm gonna end it with a little dessert for you to see if I can entice you into some dessert.
Okay. Well, I told you what my parlay is this week. We can reveal that.
Oh, wait till you hear mine. Wait till you hear my parlay. It is a well thought out parlay.
By the way, how many parlays that I sent you this weekend were one leg away? I think it was 3.
Like all of them. Again, because I had them all sitting right there, and we were rooting for all of them. I'm like, Blake has got to get this. Well, oh, come on.
One leg. 3 different ones.
I did love our cash out of the first one of them. I love doubling my money. Get out of here.
So first game of the weekend, Saturday night, we got Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. Cincy is a 2-point favorite. The over-under here is 48. I will start with this one. I'm riding with my guy. I know I love taking Tomlin at home as a dog, but I want the Cincinnati Bengals to be in the playoffs. And if I want the Cincinnati Bengals to be in the playoffs, they have to win this game. The only way they do win this game is by scoring a lot of points. So I'm also going to take the over here of 48.
Okay.
I'm rooting for points.
Yes.
Joe Burrow, give him the MVP. He deserves it. He's the best quarterback in the NFL this year. And I would love to see them in the playoffs. I think that the Bills would hate to see them in the first round.
Yes, the playoffs need Cincinnati, and I think the rumor of Kansas City throwing the game so they don't have Cincinnati in the playoffs is a bunch of bunk. The NFL playoffs need Cincinnati in there. I've got a lean on the side. I'll reveal at the end, but I'm going after the total on this one along with you, Blake. So Cincinnati's coming in hot, 4 straight wins and covering in all 4. Pittsburgh's on a 3-game losing streak. And I'm looking at the total. Both pros and Joes are on the over with a sharp 61% of the bets and 87% of the money is on the over. The sharp split has pushed this total from 47.5 up to the 48. Cincinnati's offense is that good. You hear me say this all the time. Cincinnati's offense is this good. Their defense is this bad. Their offense is averaging 30 points over their last 3 games. Their defense is giving up 27 and 24 in 2 of the last 3 games. Pittsburgh is going to be at home playing for a shot at the division, a better playoff position, and they do not blink. This is where my side lean would be. There is no way Tomlin's going to let this team go into the playoffs losing 4 games in a row. That's the scariest thing for Cincinnati, right? However, all right, they don't want to do that, so I think they're going to score some points. I'm going over 48, and I heavily lean on Pittsburgh, but I'm just going over 48. And forgive me as I bounce around on these things. This is a wonky week and a little bit of a different way for me to go about doing these things. But again, if I can get both these sides to agree, both sharp sides to agree in the end, I think I'm going to be on Pittsburgh.
It's a shame. It's a real shame.
But you got, I mean, it's Tomlin. It's the dog.
I get 100%. Like, it's going against everything that I know in my heart, but this is the big but that's in every one of these freaking games. Let's say you're looking up at the scoreboard, and they're going to at some point. Tomlin's going to look at that scoreboard, and it's going to be 152-0 Baltimore. Does he pull those starters out? Do you see this? It's also very dumb. It's also very dumb that those 2 games aren't being played at the same time because they wanted to put Cincy in prime time.
Wait,
no,
did I miss that? They're not at the same time.
Baltimore's at 4:30 on Saturday, and this game's at 7:30.
See, Blake, this is why I need you. This is why I need you.
So that result will already be in.
I thought the league started that whole thing where they don't want to do that. So they just did what they said they don't want to do.
They did, yeah, exactly.
I didn't even.
Both of these games should have been at 4:20 on Sunday, but they wanted to have this game in prime time in a standalone spot. But well, both of these games, honestly, because they wanted Lamar in a standalone spot because he obviously brings good ratings on a Saturday, and then you're talking about Joe Burrow going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, like it's great ratings.
That's just me. I'm so simple-minded. You know, I hear one thing and it's locked in my brain that we want these games all at the same time. I assumed that these games were at the same time. That's how little I.
No, it's stupid. It's so dumb.
I had the whole in my write-up, like they're going to see that. All right, well, I'm not getting off that 48. I'm over 48. I don't care.
I agree with that, but I'm just saying you might want to think about that with your
with the Pittsburgh. Oh, absolutely.
Whatever. But I don't know because Tomlin seems like the type of dude that he's playing his starters no matter what. He wants to keep Joe Burrow out of the playoffs.
He wants to keep it. It'll get to a point though, right? They all get to a point to where it's like, all right, we're good. We're good. So hopefully it's by the time it's over 48. Let's just say.
I would have to look at their records, but I think technically. if the Chargers won, couldn't they pass them? So I think Pittsburgh still has something to play for. I think
there's a lot. I was trying to get through all the possibilities, and you know me. Again, I'm simple brained. It just really confused me. I'm like, I can't do this.
So
I have other people do
are
my thing.
10-6. You just keep talking. I'm gonna look at this real quick.
I was gonna say I'm so simple minded. I just do one thing at a time.
They're both 10-6. So if Pittsburgh loses and the Chargers win, then the Chargers jump them to the 5.
And the Chargers play Sunday. All right.
Yes.
All right.
So they still have something to play for.
So maybe I will be. All right. Enough of how much I don't look at games.
All right, on to the next one. Like I said, this was a hard week to pick games.
Yes.
To pick 5 games, but I thought that this Washington-Dallas game was kind of interesting because Dallas has, they've been out of it for a couple weeks, but they've still been playing, relatively well, their defense especially.
Yes.
And obviously Washington now is, locked up playoffs, but I think that they're still technically playing for seeding as well. They need to win to keep the 6th seed over who's the 7? I can't even remember.
It's the Packers. It's the Packers, and the 7 seed's going to be going to Philadelphia. So they've got something to play for. They don't want to go to Philadelphia. They can improve their position, but again, this is another one where I'm going to go on the total here, and I wrote right next to I'd love Washington in this. I wanted to put Washington on this. Even at 6, but I don't know how long does he keep Daniels in, and it's not about the win because obviously they want to win the game. It would be about the cover if it got to the point where they'd have a backdoor cover, and all of these that we have, I was thinking of backdoor covers. So with the total, Dallas is coming in as we just talked about. They're playing for nothing, but as shown by their win a couple weeks ago at Tampa. Let's take last week's game at Philadelphia out of it. They're definitely playing for Big Mac. They're playing for the coach, right? And Washington's obviously got something to play for. We have a game where these guys are going to play for something and improve their playoffs, obviously by not going to Philadelphia. This total, though, Blake, it's dropped, and you know me. It dropped from 47.5 to 44 due to early sharp money. So where would Mike usually go? Mike would follow that sharp money and that sharp move. But I think this total has dropped. It's dropped so low, Blake, that I believe it's outgrown the number 6. A -6 and a 44. That's kind of getting into that range. I just think it's too low. So we go in their last 5 games. Dallas has scored 27 points, scoring 27 points a game. Washington, 30 points a game. I've really started to cut down and look at 5-game chunks. And their last 5 games, these guys are scoring some points. I'm going to take the more recent sharp movement, the buyback at 44, that the sharps are coming in with 67% of the bets and 91% of the money. And I'm taking the buyback on the over at 44.
I'm on the only pick I have for this game is the under. So I'm on the opposite side. I just worry about, like you were saying, especially with Washington, depending on what's going on in that Green Bay game. Mm-hmm. And also, I just don't you want me to trust Cooper Rush? I know, he's been playing okay and everything, but, I just don't I don't see this being, a super high-scoring game. I could be, I did not have a lean, that was the only lean I could find.
Yes.
I don't have that is I like nothing about this game.
Yeah, there's nothing much to like, but again, Washington's playing for something. Dallas seems to be playing for their coach, and I said that 5-game chunk of their last 5 games, both these teams throwing out that Philadelphia stinker by Dallas last week. Cooper Rush has actually done his job. They've done all right. Again, now this is going to be a different look because this will be the second game without CeeDee Lamb. I just don't know what this offense is going to have, but hopefully Washington brings all the offense and is like, you know what, we're going to get a little revenge for the game last time.
And there's no Zeke. What's Dallas going to do without Zeke?
I don't know. I just hope we don't see.
Did you see that story? Did you see that story that they released him so that he could potentially sign with a playoff team and no one was interested?
Who's going to
Dallas,
be interested? Come on.
he's horrible.
They were the only ones that were interested. Yeah, they were the only ones interested in him in the first place. Get out of here. Get out of here.
On to the next one. Seattle at LA. LA is sitting their starters this week. That I know has been like confirmed. McVay confirmed it like I think like Monday. He was like, yeah, Stafford's not playing.
Yep.
Now, Mike, do you know the story going into this game though with Geno?
Oh yeah, that's part of my dessert. That's part of my dessert. That's how I start my whole write-up.
Three different triggers for incentives.
$6 million,
$6
baby.
million, and one of them is just winning. They just need to win.
He's gonna
and
eat
Geno
that W. Him and Jameis.
Geno, say what you want about him as a quarterback. I would venture to guess that his teammates like him. He seems like a likable dude, and like people just seem to like him. Besides that guy, remember when he was on the Jets and the guy punched him in the face?
Yes,
that's the only teammate that probably doesn't like him.
That guy knocked his ass out. But that is not only that, he's playing for a contract too. He's done after the year. He needs to show up.
Well, did you hear the hot in the streets regarding that?
No.
Seattle, there's rumors. I think Cowherd was talking about it, and I've heard some other people talking about it. Seattle's going to trade for J.J. McCarthy.
Well, I've heard 10 teams. The Giants. There's a whole list of them, right? But that someone's going to want them, right? Because they've got Daniel Jones.
Okay, if you're the Vikings, you can't let go of. We can get into this later, but you can't get into. You cannot get rid of Sam Darnold after the season he just had. You cannot.
Not at all.
So, but yeah, that is strictly the only reason why I'm picking what I'm picking. I'm taking Seattle minus the 6.5, because they want to get Geno that dub, and it's going to be a lot of dump offs. I like over for Zach Charbonnet receptions. I think JSN also has an incentive that he needs to hit in this game. So lots of completions, all of that good stuff.
Yep.
And give me Seattle.
All right. I like it. I mean, you hit right on it. I started my right on this. This game means nothing to anybody except Geno Smith, and he's got 6 million reasons to be interested in this game. Not only is he a popular guy in the locker room, Blake, but Metcalf already came out in a press conference and said he didn't talk about winning the game. He talked about getting him his money. So, and obviously part of getting him that money is eating that W, and it's going to be a win. So the team's on his back. They're all on his back. The sharps are on his back. One book has 26% of the bets, 40% of the money. The other one's got 50% of the bets, 64% of the money, and it's moved this line from 3 to 6.5. So you know me, this is actually a little bit more traditional. I'm going with the sharps. I'm going with that line move. I'm with you on Seattle. And I'm also with the sharps. The sharps hit the under early, dropping it from 41.5 to 38.5. But since it hit 38.5, all the numbers have turned up sharp. And I'm going over 38.5 in this game. And the thing that I like is Jimmy G. You may not like him, but he's an experienced quarterback. And this guy can still play. And he's going to want to show up too, because he needs contracts. He needs money. He needs to do something. I need Jimmy G to score 17 points. Seattle's defense isn't that great, and I think they can do it. But I like Seattle, and I like the over.
Seattle's defense is like so inconsistent.
Yes.
Like they'll have stretches where they're really good, and they'll have stretches where they're bad.
And a side bet on this one, you can get at plus money Seattle over 23.5 team total.
I need to look at what Geno's like attempts and completions are.
I've got that's my dessert for you, Blake. Okay. You're getting right to my dessert.
I'm getting too excited.
I think I've got some down here for us. I think it's going to open up a little bit more as it gets to game time, because some of them didn't have everything that you would want.
Yeah.
But there's enough of them that I picked through that I've got some numbers for you.
Well, and also the books know, like, they know what numbers people are looking for these too. So
Yes,
there's
a bunch. There's a bunch of incentives. I've got the incentive dessert menu coming.
I love it. There's a lot of incentives in that Tampa Bay game too, which I have a pick for that game as well that leads into that. But before we get to that, Kansas City at Denver. Denver is 10.5-point favorites. The over-under here is 40. Mike, you go ahead and start us out on this one.
All right, I'm going to go after the total here. Obviously, we know that for Denver, this is a win, and they are in the playoffs. They have gone over in their last 6 games, averaging 30 points a game. But their defense is actually giving up more than that, more than 30 points a game in 3 of their last 4 games. Early sharp money hammered the under, dropping it down to 38.5, just kind of like the Seattle game. But since then, the books and sharps have responded by moving that number back up to 40. Some sharp money came back down on it. I'm going against all the numbers that's looking at, right? The number initially dropped. The sharp money was initially on the under. I still think you can find a lot of books where the sharps are hammering under. I'm going to trust this Broncos offense. Let me see if I get this right. It's at home, right?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right. They're at home. Their offense is definitely better at home. And I'm also trusting in Kansas City's backups. Let's not forget, last year the Chargers needed to win, and the Kansas City Chiefs played their backups, and the Kansas City backups beat the Chargers. That's the only reason I'm not touching the 10. I think the 10.5 and is way too much, and I actually think you could get like a backdoor cover in there. I just don't know, because Denver at times has been explosive. I'm thinking they might even put 40 up themselves, but I'm going over 40 in this one.
I am with you on that over. I think it's too low of a number, especially like for Kansas City. It's not like they're playing like a guy that hasn't played. Like, it's not like you're playing like Cleveland's playing Bailey Zappi. Like, I know he's played a little bit in the NFL, but you're not playing like like Carson Wentz almost won the MVP. He's a good quarterback.
He's a bad knee from MVP. Yeah, 100%. He's just old.
Yes. So I am taking Kansas City plus 10.5, and I'm also on the over with you. I will probably be sprinkling some Kansas City money line.
Okay.
Strictly because I want Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's
just, what's going to happen? The Dolphins are going to beat the Jets, and they're going to fuck all this up.
Without Tua? Tua's out.
Oh, he is? That's confirmed.
I swear that I saw come across the ticker that he was out.
Aaron Rodgers for it all. This is the game of his life. I'm not kidding. So
I love it.
We were talking like I'm going to do a money line parlay, Cincy money line, so I don't have to deal with any of the points. KC money line and Jets money line. I think it's like plus 700.
Okay, just to get Cincy in. It's a get Cincy in parlay. Yeah. I love it. I don't mind it, because I'm telling you, Denver's part of taking that 40s. Denver's defense isn't what they were. If you go back, I think it was last year, where they started off bad and then ended the season really good, and that's where everyone's thinking they were going to have this good deal. And the defense this year started off good. They've been terrible the last few weeks. They're giving up just as many points as they're getting.
Does Bo Nix still have like offensive rookie of the year locked up? Do you think? Or is
they're not? No way, Daniels. Oh, Jaden Daniels, right?
Okay.
It's I'm gonna tell you, it's a market I haven't looked at in a long time. I never thought Jaden Daniels was not the favorite. I thought he was the favorite the whole time. And Bo Nix is totally tailed off. And a matter of fact, I want to say what's his nuts from the Raiders was actually getting closer at one point.
It's not even available on what I'm looking on right now.
The tight end. The tight end from the Raiders was actually getting closer to second. Bo Nix was fading out.
Okay. And then obviously the last one, the big one,
The game
Sunday
of the
Night
year.
Football, game of the year, the most wins ever in an NFL regular season game on the field Sunday night. Minnesota at Detroit. Detroit is favored by 2.5, over under a 56.5. We just got college over under numbers here.
I mean, and how
And guess
the
what?
fact
It's not enough points, Mike.
it's not. Even I'm saying that. Even I'm saying that it's not enough points. They can't make this one high enough.
No. Okay, legitimately, does Dan Campbell punt in this game?
That's a
Can we
big
get
thing.
is
People
there-
are talking
there a
about taking
prop?
this over.
Is there
I
a
don't think
prop,
he's going
like,
to.
over under punts?
Oh, there's got to be. There's kicking props in there, and someone's got to have that for Dan Campbell prop. Like I don't think he
under
does.
a half punt.
Right? I mean, he's gonna have to be inside his own 30 to punt.
Yeah, legitimately, yeah, and he
So.
might still run a fake there. Who knows?
Boom.
So I am going to take the Vikings and the over. My reasoning is, and I've been very clear about this on every platform I've ever been on. I'm no Lions fan. I don't pretend to be a Lions fan. They're very fun to watch offensively right now, but their defense is dog water. And yes. I don't know how you cover Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison with me and Mike playing corner right now for the Detroit Lions. And I understand, like, the Vikings defense is going to have some issues stopping the Lions offense, 100%. I completely understand and agree with that. That's why I love the over here. Mm-hmm. But you're telling me I have, like, that group of corners trying to cover the one or two best receiver in the NFL?
Yeah.
No way.
No. And I'll tell you, but the only reason I'm going, I've got the over. We have to. But the only reason I'm going Detroit is it's 2.5. If you would have laid that number up there at 3, I would have taken Minnesota, because again, everyone knows the story here. We know they're playing for the number 1 seed. These teams haven't lost since October. I think they don't have a loss since October, and everyone's split on this. The sharps are split down the middle. Sharp money here, sharp money there. The sharp money on the over, though, at 52.5. But now that it's at 56.5, it's coming in at under money. But I just don't think that they can make this one high enough. And you know what I've got to say is that for a while, like, all I've heard was the disrespect that Minnesota was getting. And I was on that side, if you heard me talking about it. Like, I just don't think they're getting respect and point spreads and all this. Now I'm tired of it. I'm tired of hearing, number one, I'm tired of hearing how good Flores and his defense is. Seriously, they're the 28th ranked team against the pass. They're the 16th ranked overall. Over the last 5 weeks, they're not averaging 18.8 points again, where they're like the number 2 scoring defense. I'll give them, they have a good running defense, but so they think they're going to throw, Goff can't handle the blitz. Last game, Goff was 14 of 15 with 1 touchdown against that scary Flores blitz. Now I think it's totally flipped. I think that it's getting a little bit out of control, the love that Minnesota's getting. So in the last 4 weeks, let me see if I got this right. Within Minnesota's been going over the last 2 weeks, and Detroit's been over the last 4 weeks. I think this is fireworks. It sounds just like the Buffalo game when we were coming into it. I don't think either defense is going to stop anybody. It's going to be who scores last.
Yeah.
And that's where I would take the 3 with Minnesota, or I'd lay the 2.5 with Detroit.
The only thing, too, that worries me with Detroit, their offensive line was getting its ass whooped against San Fran.
Oh, yeah.
It really was. And I think Minnesota's, like, blitzing and scheming and what they do, I could see Goff getting under pressure and not having his best game.
It could happen. I'm just laying out what happened last time when everyone was thinking the same thing. Is the first game without Hutch, right? The Lions are going to be able to stop him.
Yeah.
Flores defense in their home, all these kinds of things. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. No matter who wins that one, we're winning the over.
Yeah.
Right. And the books know it. We're actually on the side of the books because, like I said, from 52 to 56.5, it was all over money. At 56.5, it's really flipped and it's a sharp under. But you notice what it hasn't done? It hasn't come off of 56.5.
No.
They're not dropping that. I don't see that coming down off 56.5. They learned that lesson in the Buffalo game. They've got to keep it up there, and I wouldn't be surprised if it keeps ticking because Sunday they're going to get a lot of public money coming in on that over.
There's there's 3 books that have it at 56 right now. It's going back down.
So they have dropped it. Oh, see it? That is the sharp side. So if you get, hey, no, sports books aren't dumb. They get a sharp enough bet from someone that they respect. They're going to dip it just a little bit there. But I can't see that. There's no way. Hey, you know what? Go ahead. Let's get that bet all the way back down. So by Sunday I can actually hop on it. So Blake,
I'm taking that no matter what. I can tell you that right now.
Put it at 60.
Do you want me to just throw out these last 4 NFL picks that I have before you get
go
into...
for it? Because I've got none.
Texans plus 1.5. Will Levis does not deserve to be favored against anyone, and he is the starter this week for the Titans. Give me the Texans plus 1.5. Chargers -4 at the Raiders. Like we talked about, the Chargers, especially if Pittsburgh loses, Chargers win and they move up in seeding. Jim Harbaugh, no matter what, is not the type of guy that is going to be resting anyone. He is going to be attacking with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind, no matter what. And then part of the parlay, Jets +1 against Dolphins. Just take them on the money line. Dolphins, especially if Tua is not playing. I love that.
Yeah, double check that. But I swear I saw that earlier today.
And then Tampa -14 against the Saints. The Saints have completely quit and given up. Even though, there's talk that like Derek Carr might play in this game, and Kamara might play in this game, and Olave might play in this game. Like all of their starters are just going to come back for this game, which I don't think it's going to happen
magically.
But
no,
yeah, and I'm sure you're going to talk about it in a second. There's a lot of incentives for Tampa Bay in this game. And I'm going to be rooting hard for Baker because do you know
you're on the Baker one.
Do you know the story though with Baker, how he had like he had family members like steal a bunch of money from him?
No, I did not know this.
So he it's not like Baker's broke by any means, but I think it was like there was a scheme with his family and his financial advisor took a bunch of money from him. So Baker needs all the money he can get.
Yes. You hear it's unfortunate. You hear that a lot.
Yes.
You hear that a lot. All right. So with my dessert menu here, I didn't put any Baker Mayfield here because I only had so much room to go on these. But I did put up here the Mike Evans incentive, right? 5 catches and 85 yards for $3 million. Now, this is the scam that has become sports betting. You can get over 90 yards at a -125, but DraftKings put up a Mike Evans prop, 5 catches, 85 yards, -265. Come on. No, thank you. So I said waiting towards the thing, but no one had a 5 catches or a catches over under today. Any of the books that I'm on about that, but I could find plus 90 yards at a -125.
And you also saw, too, if he gets over 1,000 yards, which is that
is 85 yards. Yeah.
He ties Jerry Rice's record for most consecutive seasons.
That's it. Baker's just going to feed him. Baker's just going to feed him. And then we have the Geno Smith, 186 yards for $2 million. You can get over 200 yards for a -450. The win, the money line, if they win, he gets $2 million. They're at a -258 right now. Now here's the one that I'm interested in here. Kyler Murray, 1 rushing TD and 50 yards rushing for $750,000. 1 rushing TD plus 170, 50 yards rushing plus 225, 5-1 in a parlay. I like it.
Yeah.
You got Cortland Sutton, 82 yards for $500,000, over 80 yards plus 105. I like it. Pollard, 83 yards. I couldn't find, and not even one book had anything Pollard related. I think they're really taking a look at these things. Then here's one that I've got wrapped into a couple here is Zach Ertz. 9 catches, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. Each of those is worth $250,000 to him. I couldn't find the catches. 90 yards, you could get them at a plus 390. 2 TDs, plus 1,300. Then the last one, and the one that you're going to want to put in any of your parlays, Blake, Derrick Henry, 1 touchdown for $500,000. You can get him at a minus. You can get him at about a minus 250 to a minus 210. So here we go. This is what I cooked up.
Here we go.
Murray over 50 yards. Murray 1 touchdown. Gino. Gino over 200 yards. And Derrick Henry 1 TD. That parlay itself is 9-1.
I love it.
All right.
And that's not even including a Gino or Baker.
Right? No, they had Gino over 200 yards.
Sorry. Yep.
Okay. No Baker. But you want to get freaky with it. You throw Zach Ertz 90 yards in there. This goes to 101-1.
Okay.
Or you throw just Zach Ertz, that 9-1 parlay with Zach Ertz 2 touchdowns, 142-1. Then you throw Mike Evans 80 yards, 185-1.
Okay. I love this. Like, you know me. The parlays I send you, I'm all in. The Kyler Murray rushing yards is the only one that like scares me.
The 50, he's so selfish.
I know, but I'm just trying to see, like, I'm looking at his stats right now. I just want to know how many games he's had over that this season.
He only needs 1.
I know, but still.
So here we go. This is I had a $5 free bet, Blake. Me and my free bets. I've got the Derrick Henry touchdown, Zach Ertz 2 touchdowns, Mike Evans 80 yards, Geno Smith 200 yards, and then Kyler Murray 1 touchdown, 45 rush yards, $5 to net $927.
So last 3 games, right? Wait, no, that was the first 3 games of the season. His last game he had 32. Game before that he had 63 and a touch. And then the couple games before that, 11 and 16, 48, 9, 21. Earlier in the season, he was getting, he had a game where he had 83 yards rushing. That's the only leg that scares me. Legitimately.
So I did it. I got it at it was like about plus 929, I think, when I actually pulled the trigger on the Murray, Geno, and Derrick Henry. But then the big one I threw that free bet on at like 190 to 1 or something like that.
I love it.
We're going to be tracking that one all day, baby.
We both got between that parlay and then my get the Bengals in the playoffs parlay.
I like it. Kansas City could be the easiest one on that at the end of it.
I hope so. Because I don't want to see the Broncos in the playoffs either. Honestly, I don't.
It's not what the NFL needs yet. And again, I love the Broncos. I had all those overs.
Smoked.
Yes.
You're going to go to Buffalo. And Miami would be even worse.
Cincinnati's going to be fun. That offense and that awful defense, it's going to be, and then Zach Taylor's stupidity. Come on.
Also, there was one other there, and I have to look at this. So, do you know that the Bills are tied for the record of most players with a receiving touchdown this season? And they've talked; they want to break that record.
So they've got to get who's got
You
to
got to
get.
find someone
They've got to find the
off
guy.
the grid, anytime
All right.
touchdown. Someone that
All
has
right.
not scored a touchdown this season, anytime
That has
touchdown.
a ton of receptions.
Not even
Right?
just anyone.
But I'm just gonna say that's going to be more likely of the guys. All I'm saying. Let's see what we can get real
And we
quick here.
can't we can't bet on like an offensive lineman to score a touchdown. Unfortunately,
Some places do have the fat man touchdown.
yeah.
Let's see stats.
But they've even talked like they really want that record, and like I said, they're one player away. Because even
I got him.
Who?
MVS. Vantage Scantling.
He doesn't have a touchdown for them?
He does not have a touchdown.
All right. Then put
Then
that in the parlay too.
Is he hurt though? He's only played 6 games.
That I don't.
Valdez Then you've got Zach Davison's the next one.
I'm just telling you they're gonna find someone.
Let's look at this.
They will break that record. And it like Josh Allen already has a touchdown catch. The one that he threw to himself, remember?
Yeah.
So you can't that one's out.
He played the 29th.
Their running back, not Cook. I think both of their running backs have receiving touchdowns. So I'm looking now. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that in this game or in this week, I feel like we're better off betting than games. You know?
Yes. I agree with you 100%. Where is Samuel? Yeah, they all do. Samuel, Shakir, Johnson. He's got 3. Davis.
Is it Zach? Who's Zach David? Is this Zach David?
He's out. I think he's hurt. He comes up as NA when you pull up his game log. He hasn't played since December 1st.
Does Ty Johnson have one? Yeah, he's got 3.
It's literally Valdez Scantling has got to get it. Let's look at this while we're here. I mean, live on the air. Let's see what kind of TD odds we can get. This is the way it's been going. I've been checking this stuff all day. They're obviously onto a lot of these things, and they're probably working out what the odds are going to be.
Yeah.
NFL, Buffalo, right?
Yes, sir.
Buffalo spread they don't even have Buffalo doesn't even have TD props yet on MGM. Let's go to DraftKings. DraftKings has been way more friendly towards these things today.
I'm on there right now.
So now it's a race. Buffalo, quick, nothing.
Yeah,
no TD bets. They don't have TD bets yet.
Nope. So we'll see.
Right.
I will definitely be texting you, and I'll try to remember to post something to Twitter on who to take in that. So
we'll do. We'll be talking. All right. I love it.
God's like, these guys are just talking to talk at this point. My bad, Todd, I just saw your chat. I'm sorry. But that is it. We will be back next Thursday because you're traveling all next weekend, right? And we got to talk about the playoff games more. So we'll be back Thursday. We'll have picks for the college football playoff. We'll have picks for Super Wildcard Weekend. This is a great week. Next weekend is an incredible weekend.
It's about to get real.
Thursday to Sunday, just nonstop football.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be more up my alley of betting splits and getting some information and actually making some bets, unlike today.
Definitely. And then rest of the week, Todd, does Sean have anything? Sean, no. And you guys did What the Puck yesterday, right?
That's a great question. Did we do it yesterday? We did it actually New Year's Day.
Oh, okay.
With the day he got back from Costa Rica, we did it New Year's Day.
Beautiful. Well, keep an eye on the socials for everything Sean's got coming up. Like I said, we'll be back next Thursday. Thank you, Todd, for everything you do. Thank you, Mike, for thank you to everyone for listening to us just ramble on for the last hour and 25 minutes.
We appreciate
it. Check everything out on Off the Air and Unsyndicated, all that stuff. Like I said, What the Puck, Off the Air, everything Chef and Sean got going on, everything. Check it all out. And we will see you next Thursday. Bye.
You've been listening to Off the Board. Tune in all throughout the football season for weekly picks and insights. Subscribe to Unsyndicated and Off the Board on all your favorite social media and podcast platforms.